Part 1, why consistency is important. This isn't just another motivational message, it's something real, something that might change how you see your life from this moment forward. Today, we're not going to talk about dreams or wishes. We're going to talk about what actually turns those dreams into reality. That thing is called consistency. Without it, talent doesn't matter, intelligence doesn't matter, good intentions don't matter. Because if you don't show up every day, you won't move forward. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present again and again. I've seen people with incredible talent do nothing with their lives. They talk big, but they never act. And I've also seen people with no special skills become successful just because they never stopped trying. They picked one thing and they worked on it every single day. That's what makes the difference. Not luck, not magic, just effort. Repeat it again and again. You don't need perfect English, a rich family, or a big network. You need to start, and then you need to keep going. Your life is shaped by what you do repeatedly, not by what you say you'll do, not by what you dream about, but by the actions you take every day. Those small steps matter, and when you repeat them long enough, they create big results. Even when you're tired, even when no one claps for you, even when you feel like giving up. If you keep showing up, you keep growing, then that's what this message is all about, helping you build that mindset. If you're feeling stuck, tired, or lost, this message is for you. Not to inspire you for just one day, but to light something inside you that keeps burning. Real change doesn't come from watching one video or reading one quote. It comes from doing the work again and again until it becomes who you are. This isn't fake motivation. This isn't some feel-good speech. This is real, because you deserve a better life, and consistency is the path to it. So from today, don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for motivation. Just choose something small and commit to doing it every day. That's where your power is, not in thinking, but in doing. And once you understand that, your whole life can start to change. So let's begin this journey. Let's stop starting over. Let's start moving forward, one step at a time. Part 2. What is consistency? Consistency means showing up again and again, no matter what. Even when you're tired, even when you're not in the mood, even when life is hard and no one is cheering for you, you still do it. That's the core of consistency. It's not about going big once and disappearing. It's about doing something small every day, over and over. It might not look impressive at first, but that's okay, because small steps, repeated daily, lead to big changes. Let's take learning English as an example. You can't become fluent in a day, not in a week either. But what if you speak 5 new sentences every day? What if you watch one English video each day and read just a short paragraph? After 6 months, your thinking changes. After 1 year, your mouth moves more naturally. Your confidence grows. And you didn't need to study for hours. You just needed to do something small, consistently. Here's another example. Getting fit. Let's say you go to the gym for 3 hours, just once. Then you don't go back for 2 months. That won't change anything. But what if you just walk for 30 minutes a day? What if you do 20 push-ups daily? What if you eat just a little healthier? In 3 months, your body starts feeling better. In 6 months, people notice. In 1 year, you've completely changed. The secret wasn't intensity, it was consistency. But the problem is, people want fast results. They want to see big changes immediately. So they go hard once, then quit. But success doesn't work like that. It belongs to those who do small things with love and discipline day after day. Consistency isn't magic, but the results feel magical because they sneak up on you. One day you look back and realize how far you've come, all because you didn't stop. You don't need to be strong every day. You just need to keep going. Even slow progress is still progress. Even imperfect action is better than doing nothing. Consistency is about building something that lasts, a skill, a habit, a life. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't quit, someone who shows up, even on bad days. And that kind of person, they're unstoppable. They don't depend on motivation. They depend on commitment. So remember this, it's not what you do once in a while that defines you. It's what you do every day. That's where your power is, and that's what will carry you toward the life you want. Show up today, show up tomorrow, keep showing up until the results come. Part 3. Why do people fail without consistency? Let's be honest, most people don't fail because they're not smart enough. They fail because they're not consistent. They start strong, but they don't keep going. They get excited at the beginning, but that excitement fades, and when the motivation disappears, so does their action. The truth is, success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most committed. People often blame a lack of time, a lack of support, or lack of resources, but what really holds them back is a lack of discipline. They give up too quickly. They expect fast results, and when things don't happen fast, they stop. The ones who succeed, they keep going even when things are slow. They keep moving even when nothing seems to be changing. Here's something no one tells you. The winners you admire weren't born special. They became who they are through daily effort. Many of them started with nothing, no money, no confidence, no one to guide them, but they picked one thing and they stuck with it, day after day, year after year, and now they're living the life others only dream about. You have a powerful example, the bamboo tree. When you plant a bamboo seed, nothing happens for 5 years. You water it every day, you care for it, but for 5 long years, there's nothing to see. Then, suddenly, in the 5th year, it grows 80 feet in 6 weeks. But did it really grow in 6 weeks? No. It was growing the whole time, underground, building strong roots. So that's what consistency is. It's invisible at first, it feels slow, it feels pointless. But all that effort is building something deep, something solid. And if you stop too early, you never get to see the results. You never get your moment to rise. But if you keep going one day, everything changes. Fast. So don't confuse slow progress with no progress. Just because you don't see results right now doesn't mean your work is wasted. Consistency takes patience. It takes trust. It takes faith that what you're doing today will matter tomorrow. And it will, as long as you don't quit. Part 4. How consistency builds self-respect. Most people think consistency is only about building skills. But the truth is, it also builds something even more important, self-respect. Every time you say you'll do something and you actually do it, you become stronger inside. You prove to yourself that you can be trusted, that you keep your word. And that builds a kind of quiet confidence that no one can take away from you. Think about it. When you promise to wake up early and you do it, you feel proud. When you say, I'll practice today, and you actually practice, it feels good. You don't just get better at the thing you're working on, you also feel better about who you are. That's because consistency creates a clear message in your mind, I follow through. But the opposite is also true. Every time you say you'll do something and don't do it, you lose a little bit of that self-trust. A little piece of you starts to believe, I'm not disciplined, I'm lazy, I can't stick to anything. And the more often that happens, the worse you feel about yourself. Over time, it doesn't just affect your habits, it affects your identity. That's dangerous because how you see yourself influences everything. If you believe you're inconsistent, you'll act that way. If you think you're weak, you'll give up more easily. Your thoughts become your reality. But the good news is you can change that story, one small action at a time. You can rebuild your self-respect through simple daily effort. Start with something small. Maybe it's reading 1 page a day. Maybe it's learning 3 new words in English. Maybe it's waking up just 10 minutes earlier. Whatever it is, do it every single day, no matter how small it seems. Because with each day you keep that promise, your mind changes. Your self-image gets stronger. You stop saying, I'm lazy, and you start saying, I'm consistent. A shift changes everything, because when you respect yourself, you stop needing outside validation. You don't need people to clap for you. You don't need anyone to motivate you. You just keep showing up for yourself. And that's when your life really begins to grow from the inside out. Part 5. Consistency is the bridge between dreams and reality. Everyone has dreams, big dreams. We all want something to be successful, to be fluent in English, to be healthy, to be respected, to live a better life. But most people stay stuck in the dreaming phase. They imagine, they hope, they wish, but they never build the bridge to cross from dreaming to doing. That bridge has only one name: consistency. Dreams feel exciting, they make us smile, but they don't create real results unless we take action. And not just once, not just when we feel like it. Real change happens when we keep going, even when no one's watching, even when nothing seems to be happening. Every dream needs a plan, and every plan needs daily effort. That's the only way it becomes real. Let me tell you about someone who understood this well. J.K. Rowling. Before she became the author of Harry Potter, she was broke. She was a single mum, she was depressed, and she got rejected by 12 different publishers. But she kept writing. She didn't wait for approval. She didn't stop when people said no. She stayed consistent. And one day, her book got accepted. Now, she's one of the most successful writers in the world. What if she had given up after the 5th rejection? Or the 10th? What if she said, maybe this isn't for me? The world would have never known Harry Potter. Millions of lives would have missed out on her stories. That's what consistency can do. It brings invisible magic into the world. Magic that only appears when we refuse to quit. And the same is true for you. You have something inside you, a gift, a voice, a dream. But if you don't show up for it every day, the world may never see it. That's the hard truth. Consistency is what pulls it out of you and makes it real. Without it, your dream stays locked inside your head. With it, your dream becomes your life. So ask yourself, are you just wishing, or are you walking? Are you building the bridge one step at a time? Or are you still sitting at the edge, hoping it builds itself? Dreams matter, but consistency is what makes them possible. Part 6, motivation will fail you, but consistency will save you. Here's the hard truth, motivation doesn't last. One day, you feel like doing everything. You wake up early, full of energy, you go for a run, study hard, eat clean, and feel unstoppable. But the next day, you're tired, you're stressed, it's raining outside. Suddenly, that energy is gone, and with it, your desire to act disappears too. That's the danger of relying on motivation. It's unpredictable. Most people think they need to feel inspired in order to take action. So when the feeling fades, they stop. They say things like, I'm not in the mood, or I'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week will never. And just like that, their goals fade away. They weren't lazy. They were just relying on the wrong fuel. The people who win in life know something better. You don't need motivation, you need consistency. Because consistency doesn't care how you feel. It's a habit, a system, a decision. It says, I'll do it anyway, rain or shine, happy or sad, ready or not. That's the difference between someone who dreams and someone who achieves. Let me give you a picture you won't forget. Imagine a mother with a newborn baby. She wakes up at 2:00 a.m. to feed the child. She holds the baby, sings lullabies, and changes diapers. She's exhausted. She hasn't slept properly for days. Is she motivated every night? Of course not. But she still shows up because love is stronger than mood. Now, imagine treating your dreams like that baby. What if you showed up for them every day, no matter how you felt? What if you took care of your goals with that same sense of purpose and responsibility? You would stop waiting to feel ready. You would stop depending on good days. You would become someone who takes action no matter what. That's what consistency is, doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it. It's building discipline that carries you through the days when motivation disappears, and the truth is those are the days that define you most. Anyone can act when it's easy, but greatness is built when you act even when it's hard. Part 7, small steps every day create massive results over time. Most people overestimate what they can do in one day and underestimate what they can achieve in 1 year. They try to study for 10 hours in a single day. They go on an extreme diet to lose weight fast. They try to build a business in 1 month, and when the results don't come immediately, they quit. They say, it's not working, or maybe it's not for me. But real success doesn't come from doing everything in one day. It comes from doing something every day. Tiny steps, repeated over time, build big results. And the people who understand this, they don't rush, they don't panic, they focus on daily effort, not instant rewards. That's the difference between those who build lasting success and those who burn out quickly. Let me tell you a true story. There was a man who wanted to write a book, but he had a full-time job and a busy life. He didn't have hours to write each day. So he made a simple promise. I'll write just 1 sentence a day. That's it. No pressure, just 1 line. Some days he wrote more, some days only that single sentence. But he never missed a day. After 1 year, he finished his book. Not because he had more talent, not because he had more time, but because he was consistent. That's the power of small steps. They may feel like nothing in the moment, but over time they create something amazing. Think of water dripping on a rock. One drop can't break it, but a drop every second, every hour, every day, over time, the rock cracks. Not because the water is strong, but because it never stops. That's how small efforts beat big plans. That's how consistency turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. You don't need to fix your whole life today. You don't need to master everything right now. Just do one thing, one push-up, one paragraph, one sentence, and then do it again tomorrow. If you keep going, one day you'll look back and realize you've built something huge. Part 8. Consistency turns struggle into strength. Struggles aren't meant to stop you, they're meant to shape you. But that only happens if you keep going. Most people feel pain or failure and immediately run away. They think, maybe I'm not meant for this. But the truth is, pain is part of growth. And the only way to turn that pain into strength is through consistency. Think about going to the gym for the first time. It hurts, your muscles are sore, you feel weak. You might even want to quit. But what happens if you go again the next day? And the next? Slowly, that pain becomes power. The soreness fades, the weakness becomes strength. What was once difficult becomes part of you. That's how growth works. Not all at once, but over time. The same thing applies to learning, discipline, confidence, everything. At first it's uncomfortable, you'll make mistakes, people might laugh, you might feel embarrassed or slow. But if you stay consistent, you improve. Little by little, you turn your biggest weakness into your biggest asset. That only happens if you stay with the struggle long enough to see it transform. Here's a powerful example. There was a boy who stuttered badly. Every time he tried to speak, people laughed at him. His classmates made fun of him. Even his teacher told him to avoid public speaking. But instead of giving up, he practiced. Every single day, he spoke in front of a mirror. He read aloud, he recorded his voice and worked on it. He even joined debate clubs, even though people still laughed. Years later, that same boy became one of the most famous motivational speakers in the world. His name is Eric Thomas. He didn't succeed because he was naturally gifted. He succeeded because he was consistent, especially during the struggle. He kept going when it was hard, and that made all the difference. So if you're struggling right now, don't run. Keep going. Show up through the pain, through the doubt, through the fear. Because one day, that struggle will become your strength, and your story will inspire others to. Part 9. Consistency teaches you to respect time. Time is your most valuable resource. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. But the truth is, many people don't treat time with respect. They waste hours scrolling on their phones, watching random videos, overthinking, or doing nothing at all. Then they say, I don't have enough time. But the problem isn't time, it's how they're using it. When you become consistent, you naturally begin to use time more wisely. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and you start making use of the time you already have. Even one focused hour a day can change your life if you use it well. Imagine replacing 1 hour of distractions with 1 hour of building something, a skill, a habit, a goal. Over time, that hour becomes powerful. There's a saying, don't say you don't have time. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. Look at people who are consistent. Their lives look so organized, so productive. But it's not because they have more time, it's because they use time intentionally. They plan, they act, and they stay committed, even when it's hard. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who worked 12 hours a day at a petrol station. His dream was to pass the UPSC exam and become a government officer. He had no coaching, no support, but he used his time wisely. After work, he studied for 2 hours. Every morning, he revised for 30 minutes before going to his job. Rain or shine, tired or sick, he never missed a day. People laughed at him. They said he was dreaming too big. But after 3 years of consistent effort, he passed the exam. From petrol pump worker to officer, not because of luck, but because he respected his time and used it with purpose. So ask yourself honestly, how are you using your time today? Are you building something, or are you wasting it on things that don't matter? Time isn't the enemy, but if you don't value it, it will slip away. Consistency helps you take control. It turns time into your partner, not your excuse. Part 10. Consistency attracts opportunity. Most people think opportunities come from luck, that one day something big will just fall into their lap. But the truth is, opportunity doesn't chase people who wait. It comes to those who are prepared. And the best way to prepare, be consistent. When you show up every day, even when no one's watching, you build something that the world eventually notices. Let me tell you a story. There was a young artist who posted one drawing online every single day. He wasn't famous. He didn't have a big audience. For 3 years, nobody paid attention. No shares, no likes, no recognition. But he didn't stop. Day after day, he kept creating, kept sharing, kept improving his art. And one day, a big company found his work. They saw his consistency. They saw his growth. And they offered him a project. That one opportunity changed his entire life. He became successful almost overnight, but that success was built on 3 years of silent effort. The outside world saw one lucky break. But the truth is, he earned it long before anyone noticed. That's the power of showing up. When you keep creating, keep practicing, keep trying, you send a signal. You're telling the world, I'm serious, I'm here, I'm ready. And eventually the world responds. But if you quit too soon, you'll never give it a chance to find you. Consistency builds momentum. It builds a reputation. It builds a body of work that people can see and trust. And in a world full of people who start things and never finish, consistency makes you stand out. It's rare, it's valuable, and it attracts attention. Not because you're chasing it, but because you've earned it. So don't wait for luck. Don't wait to get discovered. Focus on doing the work every day. Put your head down, build something real. Because when opportunity does come, and it will, you'll be ready to take it. Part 1, the world respects only one thing, your daily actions. Everyone talks about dreams. I want to be rich. I want to help my family. I want to change the world. We say these things with passion. We feel them deeply. Sometimes we even cry over them. But here's the truth. The world doesn't care about what you say. It only respects what you do. No one is going to reward you for dreaming. No one is going to clap for your potential. What people respect is your daily effort. The small actions you take every day, the times you show up even when it's hard. That's what builds credibility. That's what creates results. Let me share a story. There was a boy who wanted to become an athlete, but he didn't have money shoes. So he trained barefoot, running on dusty roads. He didn't have the right food. He didn't have support. In fact, his father told him he was wasting his time. But that boy woke up at 4:00 a.m. every day and ran. He ran until his legs bled. He ran until his lungs gave out, and he never stopped. 3 years later, that same boy won a national gold medal. People clapped for him then, they cheered, they called him talented, but none of them saw the blood on his feet. None of them saw the years of silent effort. What made him great wasn't talent or luck. It was daily, disciplined action. You don't need the world to believe in you. You don't even need people to notice you right now. What you need to prove to yourself through your actions is that you're serious, that you're not just dreaming, that you're doing. So ask yourself, what did I do today that proves I want this? Not what I planned, not what I hoped. What did I actually do? Because in the end, the world won't remember what you said you'd become. It will only remember what you did. Part 12. Talent is a bonus. Consistency is the real superpower. Some people are naturally talented. They can sing well, speak clearly, run fast, or learn things quickly. And when we see them, we think, they were born for this. But here's the truth. Talent is just a head start. It's not the finish line. What really decides who wins is consistency. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't show up and practice, it doesn't matter. Talent without effort is wasted. On the other hand, someone with no special gift, no support, and no resources, but who shows up every day can go further than anyone expects, because consistency builds skill. It builds strength. It builds mastery. Let me tell you a story. There was a girl in a small village who couldn't speak English at all. Her pronunciation was poor. People laughed when she tried to say even simple words. Her confidence was at 0. But she didn't quit. Every morning she read 1 page out loud. Every evening she learnt 1 new word. Every night she recorded her voice and corrected herself. She didn't have a fancy education. She didn't have money. But she had something better, daily effort. She kept going even when it was slow. 4 years later, she stood on a TEDx stage, speaking fluent English, telling her story to the world. That same girl now teaches English to thousands of students across India. She wasn't born with a gift. She built her ability with consistency. That's what makes the difference. Because talent might make people notice you at first, but only consistency keeps you going when things get hard. The world is full of talented people who have up, but no one can stop someone who refuses to quit. So if you think you're not smart enough, not fast enough, not talented enough, stop worrying, start working, show up every day. Because in the end, the people who win are not the ones with the most talent, they're the ones with the most discipline. Part 13, time will eventually expose the truth. You can pretend for a while, you can act busy, post fake progress online, and even convince yourself that you're doing something, but time sees everything, and eventually it exposes the truth. Time will reward those who are consistent, and it will quietly destroy those who pretend to. You might fool people for a few weeks, maybe even months, but you can't fool results. You can't fake growth. In 6 months, in 1 year, what you've done will speak louder than anything you said. So it's why consistency matters. It's not just about what people see today. It's about what your effort builds behind the scenes. I'll give you an example. There were 2 men who wanted to grow YouTube channels. The first one made 3 videos. They didn't do well, so he stopped. The second one made 1 video every single day for an entire year. His lighting was bad, his audio was weak, nobody watched for months, but he kept showing up. 1 year later, that second man had over 5 million subscribers. The first man still stuck at 0, not because he wasn't smart, not because he didn't try, but he didn't stay long enough to see results. Time rewards those who keep going even when nothing is happening. Here's what most people miss. Consistency builds proof. It shows the world and yourself that you're serious. Even if no one claps for you, even if the results are slow. Every day you show up, you add 1 more brick to the foundation. And one day, people will look at your success and call it sudden. But you'll know the truth. It was built quietly, over time. So the real question isn't, will I succeed? The real question is, will I keep going when no one notices? Because that's when time is testing you. And if you pass that test, nothing can stop what's coming next. Part 14. Consistency is how you break generational curses. Some people are born into comfort. Others are born into chaos. Maybe your family has always struggled. Maybe no one around you ever learnt English, started a business, or finished school. Maybe you've heard things like, that's just how we are, or no one in our family ever did that. But here's the truth. You can be the one who changes everything if you're consistent. You're not responsible for the pain you were born into, but you are responsible for whether that pain continues. You can't choose your starting point, but you can choose your direction. And that direction is built through daily actions, through habits, through persistence that refuses to quit no matter what the past looked like. Let me tell you a true story. There was a boy who lived in a slum. His father was an alcoholic. His mother worked as a maid. They lived in a tiny 1-room house with barely enough to eat. Everyone around them assumed he'd follow the same path, but he didn't accept that fate. Every night, while others slept, he studied under a streetlight. Even when he was hungry, even when it rained, he walked 5 kilometers to a free coaching center. Day after day, year after year. He didn't complain. He didn't wait for help. He just kept showing up. And eventually that boy became an IAS officer, one of the highest ranking civil servants in India. His children won't live the life he lived. They'll grow up with more opportunities, more respect, and more hope, all because one person in their family chose consistency over excuses. That's the power you have. You can break the cycle, you can rewrite the story, not by making one big move, but by showing up every day, quietly, relentlessly, with purpose. You don't fight fate with noise, you fight it with discipline. So if you feel like life is unfair, that's okay. You don't have to carry the past forward. You can be the first to rise, the first to succeed, the first to say this pain ends with me and greatness begins here. Part 15. If you don't build the habit, you'll be a slave to emotion. Let's be real. Emotions lie. One day you feel motivated and the next you feel tired, lazy, or sad. If you only act when you're in the mood, you'll never make real progress. That's why building strong habits is so important. Habits carry you when emotions try to stop you. Think about how many times you said, I'll start tomorrow just because you didn't feel like doing it today. Then tomorrow turns into next week. Before you know it, a whole month is gone, and so is your momentum. That's what happens when your actions depend on feelings. The only way to break free from this emotional trap is to build routines that don't care about your mood. Systems that guide you, even on bad days. Habits that say, it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm doing this anyway. That kind of consistency creates power. It builds self-control, and it moves you forward no matter what. Let me share a story. There was a woman who wanted to get fit. She started waking up at 6 o'clock a.m. every day. She went for a walk, drank water, and ate healthy meals. But one day, she felt low. She skipped her workout. The next day, she felt tired again. Soon, she gave in to sugar cravings and lost her rhythm. Within 2 weeks, she was back to her old habits. So she started over, but this time she used a different approach. She laid out her workout clothes the night before. She kept her shoes beside the bed. She made a deal with herself. Even if I feel exhausted, I'll walk for just 2 minutes. And that changed everything. She trained her brain to act, not to wait for a feeling. Today she runs marathons, she teaches fitness to others. Her body changed, yes, but more importantly, her mindset changed because she built a system that didn't depend on emotions. And once that happens, you become unstoppable. So if you're tired of starting over, stop depending on motivation. Start building habits so strong they don't care how you feel. Do it automatically, do it without thinking. That's the secret to long-term success. Part 16. Your life is the price you're paying for your laziness. And every day you choose comfort over action, you're making a silent deal. You're trading your future for a few moments of ease. It doesn't seem like a big deal at first. 5 more minutes in bed, skipping one workout, ignoring one study session. But those small choices add up, and over time, they cost you your dreams. Laziness doesn't ruin your life in one big moment. It works slowly, quietly. You don't notice the damage right away. Your body gets weaker, your mind gets slower, your confidence fades, and before you realize it, you're stuck. Not because life is unfair, but because you chose the easy road too many times. There was a man who always talked about starting a business. Every day he said, I have a great idea, I'm going to do it soon, but he kept delaying. He told himself he wasn't ready, that he needed more time. Years passed. One day he saw his best friend, who started a business with no money and no support, become a millionaire. That moment shattered him. It wasn't jealousy. It was regret. Deep regret, because he realized something painful. Success wasn't stolen from him. He gave it away. He gave it away every time he chose laziness. Every time he said, later. Every time he picked comfort over discipline. The truth is, whether you act or not, you're always paying a price. Either you pay the price of hard work now, or you pay the price of regret later. But one of them is guaranteed. So ask yourself honestly, is what I'm doing today worth the future I'm sacrificing for it? If not, it's time to change. Time to take back control. Time to stop giving your life away in tiny pieces. Your dreams are waiting, but they won't wait forever. Part 17. No one is coming to save you. You are the rescue team. We grow up with the idea that someone will come and save us. Maybe a mentor, a lucky break, a rich friend, or some magical opportunity that will change everything. But here's the truth. No one is coming, not because they don't care, but because they're busy saving themselves. Everyone is fighting their own battles, struggling with their own doubts, fears, and failures. Most people are too deep in their own problems to pull you out of yours. And honestly, that's not their job. It's yours. The moment you accept that is the moment you take your power back. There was a girl stuck in a toxic relationship. She kept hoping someone would notice, that someone would help her, rescue her, tell her what to do. But no one came. One night, after crying herself to sleep again, she looked in the mirror and said, no one is coming, so I will save myself. She left. She had no money, no plan, no one to lean on, but she was free. She got a job at a small bakery. Then she learned graphic design online. Slowly, she built her own business. Today, she runs a brand worth crores. When asked how she did it, she simply said, I stopped waiting. I started building. That's the mindset you need. Not who will help me, but how can I help myself? Because the rescue team you've been waiting for, it's you. You are the hero. You are the solution. You are the one who decides how this story ends. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel lost. But don't stay stuck. Stand up. Take one step, then another. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect timing. Your life won't change until you change it. So if you're waiting for someone to come and fix everything, stop. You already have everything you need. Your mind, your time, your choices. Now use them. Your future is watching. Make it proud. Part 18. The pain you avoid today becomes the regret you carry forever. Pain is part of life. Growth hurts. Discipline hurts. Waking up early, saying no to distractions, staying focused. All of it can feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing. The pain you avoid now will turn into regret later. And that regret is much heavier than any short-term discomfort. You can avoid the pain of studying, but later you'll feel the pain of not having a career. You can avoid the pain of exercising, but later you'll feel the pain of poor health. You can avoid the pain of rejection, but one day you'll feel the pain of being alone, of missed chances, of never try it. There was a boy who didn't want to study. He just wanted to have fun, party, relax, enjoy life. He kept saying, life is short. I want to live it. Fast forward 15 years, his parents were old, he had no money, no skills, and no direction. One day, he saw a man on stage. That man was his old classmate. The same age, the same background, but now he was successful, traveling the world, taking care of his parents. That boy didn't cry because his friend was lucky. He cried because he had the same chance and he wasted it. He avoided the pain that would have made him grow, and now he was stuck with the pain of regret. The kind that doesn't go away. You have to choose your pain, the pain of effort now or the pain of regret later. Either way, there's a cost. But one pain builds you, the other breaks you. So stop running from the hard stuff. Lean into it. Do the difficult thing today so you don't have to live with what if tomorrow. Because nothing hurts more than knowing you could have but didn't. Part 19. Every second you waste is a second someone else is using to beat you. Time doesn't stop for anyone. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't care if you're tired, scared, or confused. Every second that passes is a chance, and someone else, somewhere, is using that same second to move ahead. While you waste time, someone else is getting better. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. The hours you spent scrolling, the days you spent thinking but not doing, the months you spent planning but not acting, they don't come back. But someone else, maybe with less talent or fewer resources, is using their time to build something. And one day they will pass you. There was a young man who dreamed of becoming a filmmaker, but instead of practicing or learning, he spent most of his evenings watching others on social media. He kept saying, I'll start tomorrow. Meanwhile, across the city, another man with the same dream made one short film every week. No budget, just effort. In 2 years, that second man was working in Hollywood. The first one, still dreaming. Success doesn't belong to those who want it. It belongs to those who work while others wait. Time is not a gift, it's a weapon. If you use it, it will build you. If you waste it, it will destroy you. Simple as that. Right now, there's a kid in a poor neighborhood waking up at 5 o'clock. He has no phone, no gym, no private tutor. But he's running barefoot, reading library books and recording himself, speaking English. He's turning every second into a stepping stone, and one day he might beat you. Not because he had more, but because he used more. So stop saying, I still have time, because while you wait, someone else is taking your spot. Don't let time make you invisible. Use it now before someone else turns it to their advantage. Part of 20, and you cannot be the same person and expect a different life. If you want your life to change, you have to change too. You can't keep the same habits, the same thoughts, the same circle of friends, and expect new results. A better life requires a better version of you. That's the truth most people avoid because it's uncomfortable. But growth only happens when you evolve. There was a man who kept saying he wanted success. He said he wanted to make more money, get fit, and build a better future. But every day he woke up late, he partied every weekend, he spent hours on social media and surrounded himself with people who didn't push him forward. Then he wondered, why isn't anything changing? The answer was simple: he hadn't changed. On the other hand, there was a woman who decided that enough was enough. She cut out junk food. She stopped wasting time on TV. She stopped talking to people who only complained. She started reading, exercising, building skills, and showing up every day. Within 1 year, everything changed. Her body, her job, her mindset, and her environment. She didn't wait for life to give her something new. She became someone new. And that's the key. You can't drag your old habits into a new future. You can't become a version 2 life with version 1 behavior. Something has to shift. How you think, how you act, how you live. Change is uncomfortable, yes, but staying stuck is worse. You don't have to become a different person overnight, but every day make choices your future self will thank you for. Upgrade your routine, upgrade your mindset, upgrade your energy. Bit by bit, those upgrades will take you to a life that feels completely different. So if you want a better life, stop waiting for something outside to change. Start changing the person in the mirror. That's where it begins. That's where it always begins. Part 21. When you die, they won't talk about what you dreamed, only what you did. One day, your time will run out. No more second chances. No more I'll do it tomorrow. When that day comes, people won't remember what you plan to do. They won't talk about your dreams, your potential, or your good intentions. They'll remember what you actually did. There was a man who always said, I'm going to write a book. He talked about it for years. He had amazing ideas, but he never sat down to write. When he died, his friends said he had so much potential. And just like that, all his dreams were buried with him, unwritten, unseen, forgotten. Then there was a woman who had a dream to educate girls in rural areas. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for money. She started with what she had. One girl, one book, one day at a time. When she died, thousands of girls cried. They had schools, they had a future, and they had her to thank. That's the difference between dreaming and doing. One leaves a mark, the other leaves nothing. So ask yourself, if you died tomorrow, what would people say about you? Would they say he talked big but never moved? Or would they say she showed up every day and changed lives? You don't have to be the smartest or the most talented or the most experienced. You just have to keep showing up. One small step at a time, one honest effort every day. That's how you build a life worth remembering. This isn't a rehearsal. This is your one shot. Make it count. Let your life be proof that consistency is more powerful than luck. That effort beats talent. And that is what you do daily becomes who you are forever.